potatoes. Who does not love potatoes? Mashed potatoes, fried potatoes, stir-fried potatoes. I had a bag of sauerkraut left over. Not sauerkraut. Cabbage left over from last week I didn't get to. So this week I am making the last batch of coleslaw. I do have a cut on my finger, so Grandma over here is going to mix up the cabbage for me with the salt in it because I have a boo-boo on my finger. And salt in a boo-boo, as we all know, will not be very pleasant. So at first I take half this bag and I put it in one bowl, and I take half the bag and I put it in the other bowl because it's very fluffy. But after we end up getting this salt in here and mushing it and crunching it all up and bruising it, beating it to a bloody pulp, it will condense down enough that we can put it into one bowl and let it still sit and get out its juices. And I'm just going to put all this together real quick and then put it off to the side while we start working on potatoes. I love potatoes. I always make extra potatoes when we make mashed potatoes so I can make multiple one-size servings, and I flash freeze them, and then I put them in a Ziploc baggie and I freeze them that way. So then you can take them out of the freezer and put them on a cookie sheet and bake them, and it's like a double baked potato because you baked it twice, just not on the same day. And plus it already has all the salt in it and the pepper and your cheese and your garlic, everything that makes potatoes yummy. So here's the salt going in the cabbage to work out all that extra moisture so our coleslaw will stay crunchy. But come on, 99 cents for that bag? That was amazing. I'm so glad I brought 3. That is a lot of coleslaw on the shelves. When you see good deals like these, you just gotta pick them up and run with it. As long as you know how to preserve it, you're golden. Now, I just have a whole bunch of coleslaw that I paid 99 cents for. Just sitting on my shelf, waiting for when we end up having some brats or some burgers. Just plop that coleslaw right down next to it. Say you don't like the vinegary coleslaw, drain that juice out, give it a little bit of a rinse, add some mayonnaise, some mustard, and if you want, cut up some hard-boiled eggs, throw it in there. Now you have a creamy coleslaw. So you don't even have to stick with the vinegar coleslaw. You just can't can dairy, so you can't make a cream one and then can it. But you can make a vinegar one and can it and turn it creamy later. All right, here is my first bag of potatoes. We are just going to peel all these potatoes. Now you can either take these potatoes and you can make mashed potatoes. You can stick them in your air fryer and make them crispy. You can make smushed potatoes where you just take them, kind of smush them, and then put some cheese on them, bake them in the oven. Yes, we have Mia had us over on the weekend. My mom had us over to her house on the weekend, and she gave me the leftover cookie that she bought from the grocery store. But potatoes are always great to have on any side dish. Pardon my forehead, I am so sorry. I was just trying to make room to put the coleslaw over here so me and Grandma can get to peeling. I got a bowl For the potatoes, I got a bowl for the peels. You can save your peels because 1, if you have bunnies, the bunnies love them. 2, your chickens love them. And 3, they make great baked French fries. Yes, little baked French fries. It's amazing. Nothing goes to waste. Use the whole thing. Don't waste anything. But we're going to peel these and then we're going to chop them. We're going to put them in a bowl with some water to kind of leach out some of that starchiness. And then we are going to blanch them for 2 minutes and then stick them in jars. One 10-pound bag of potatoes makes 7 jars. I think that's a good thing to know. 7 jars. And we have 3 of these bags, but I'm only turning 2 of them in to canned potatoes. I'm either A, going to use them in fresh eating, or B, if we don't get to them in time, turn them into some French fries and put them in the freezer. You know, having some French fries with maybe some chili on it and some cheese. That sounds really good. And if you really want to get crazy, you do cheese and bacon, crumbled up bacon. That's also good. It's a good comfort food in the winter. Yes. But my kids like mashed potatoes too. Nathan likes it with cheese. Madison likes it with sour cream. There's many ways to dress your potato. There's no wrong way. Everybody's right. You just cut them into cubed size potatoes here. Nothing too big, nothing too small. You don't want them to turn to mush, but yet you want them to get cooked all the way through. And who doesn't like quick mashed potatoes? Take these out, drain out the juice, put them in a pot with some milk, a little bit of salt, warming up slightly, and then take your masher and mash them. They mash so nice. And then just take a chunk of butter, let the butter melt all over it. You can either add some garlic to it or some cheese, mix it in. But when I go crazy and I put cheese in it, I put so much cheese. Everybody says, man, your potatoes could stick to your ribs. I'm like, well then you know they're good. And other times, if I go crazy on garlic, people will go, wow, vampire's not going to come near me. And I'd be like, then I did my job. Sometimes it takes a little bit extra time in the kitchen, but to get food in your pantry, on your shelves, that you know is good and wholesome and is not going to go anywhere, that is a peace of mind. These are the potatoes that I dropped into the water for 2 minutes. This is the second batch. of the first bag of potatoes. This little colander thing works pretty good. If I had one of those little spoon looking ones instead of the colander, I think that would have been a little easier to get these out. But all in all, you use what tools you have. And this right now works for me. Then I'm going to take these. We're going to go over to the counter and we are going to put them in jars. Kind of shake it. They go down through the hole. They're not mashed yet or soft enough to be mashed. They're kind of like halfway there. Yeah. But they are hot. They smell good. And I am just going to add my water. So this is a fourth teaspoon of Redmond's real salt in the bottom, potatoes, and water. That's it. And because these bags of potatoes were so cheap, I bought them. And this was a great trial run to know how many potatoes are going to fill how many jars for when I get to pull all my potatoes. I like to plant red potatoes, but I do have a few russet out there just because a few russet kind of grew eyes. And I was like, hey, I'm going to take these and I'm going to put them in the dirt and see what happens. And you know what? It grew a plant. But I got a lot of red potato plants out there. I love red potato plants. Red potatoes, I think, are my favorite. They're just sweet enough and they're red enough. I don't know, I think they make the best. I think they make the best potato, mashed potatoes or fried potatoes. I've even turned them into French fries on occasions. You can go back through the history. The kids made red potato French fries. They loved them. It was so good. And then you just fill up this water up to right underneath that little neck. Kind of giving a good shake because Grandma has my plastic spoon that I poke them and debubble them with at the present moment. I'm kind of seeing if I could fit any more. And I am going to wipe my rims. I am just going to put on the lids, put them over to the side until Grandma is done with my white spoon. It's plastic. I don't really want to use any metal on here because I don't want to ding or dent or hurt the jars in any way. So I'll use plastic on it. Grandma got done with the white spoon. I did debubble these. I do show you a little bit later on when we do the second batch of potatoes. But this is the first bag of potatoes going in the canner. We canned this for, I want to say 25 or 30 minutes. I don't remember. I don't have my card on me right at this moment. But into the All-American canner, you just put them all on so they're kind of like finger tight, and then you go around and you really crank them down. But you always want to go from side to side to side to side, not around it. There you go. And then as soon as our steady stream comes out, we will set our timer for 10 minutes. And then after that's done venting for 10 minutes, we will set our timer again with our toggle on it. When it starts to shimmy and shake and do a little dance, we will put it in for 30 minutes. This is the brine for the kosa. It's 2 cups of sugar. It is 2 cups of vinegar and 1 cup of water. Today I was experimenting on this batch with the cane sugar that still has the molasses in it. I've always done the white sugar, but I'm like, I wonder if it'll make it sweeter if we use the cane sugar with the molasses in it. So it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. And I'm just going to take this and I'm going to shove all this cabbage down into this jar. No, it is not close to Halloween. Yes, that is a Halloween pumpkin candy collector bucket. Why Madison keeps taking it out of the Halloween tote and bringing it upstairs and putting it on the counter, facing the window, I got nothing for you. But every time we put it away, she brings it back, so I just leave it out. So I got nothing for you on the pumpkin. I got my second batch of potatoes just sitting and soaking here in the water, drawing out some of that starchy so it doesn't make your water as cloudy. This was actually pretty good. It filled up, I think 6 or 7. I have 7 there. And again, it is shelf stable, on your shelf, ready for you to eat. And with 99 cents and minuscule amount of money with some sugar and vinegar, that's pretty good. That's cheaper than any made coleslaw that you could buy from the grocery store. Plus, again, you know what's in it. There's no added preservatives, colors, or dyes. And I'm getting to the bottom here. There is a little bit of liquid from rinsing this off. I rinsed it like 4 times to get all the salt off, so it's not too salty. Yeah, there we go. I made 6. This is hot. I did bring it to the stove and heat it up and incorporate all of that cane sugar into the vinegar. And I poured a little too much. It happens. All right. And see, there's my plastic spoon that you didn't get to see with the potatoes. But it's plastic, it has a long end on it. And it works good for my poker. But I mean, it also works good on the stove too when you're trying to do a big pot of soup. There's a little bit too much in this jar. It did not fit underneath that neck nicely for me. So out it comes and into the other jar. You do want to pack it in there. Good, but not too good. But still good. And just make sure all that lovely coleslaw is underneath that brine. And you will be golden. Let's fill the rest of these jars up. Poke it and debubble. Poke it and debubble. You wouldn't want anything to go bad in your jar, so you want to make sure all that liquid is in there, working it as good conduit. And as I poked, I was able to put a little bit more in there. Yes, I was. I am looking forward to trying this one. We tried it with apple cider vinegar. We weren't a fan of it with apple cider vinegar. We did love it with white vinegar. And this is white vinegar, but this is cane sugar with the molasses still in it. I am curious. I am curious. I did wipe down all these jars, the lid, and I ran my finger around it. As you see, I do all the time. It just got cut out of here. But remember, you want to put on your lids finger tight. Finger tight. Let's not bring out Hercules or Xena or She-Ra. And into our water bath canner we go. Alright, and we will set that timer for 20 minutes when this is all boiling. I can see I still have 33 minutes left for my first batch of potatoes. And we're going to take all those lovely potato skins and put them on this cookie sheet. It actually fills up 3 cookie sheets for the amount that I had left after I shared some with the rabbits and chickens. But you just kind of put oil all over it. Not too much, but some. But you want them like coated nicely. I used sunflower oil here. You can use EVOO or whatever oil. Cashew oil. Sky's the limit on whatever flavor you would like to accentuate. Just like kind of scruff them out. Don't overlay them too thick, but overlay them a nice thin layer all over this tray. Does good. And I did 3 trays. I did 1 with just salt. I did 1 with garlic salt, and I did 1 with ranch powder. I wasn't really a fan of the ranch powder because it kind of got dulled down. I thought it would have been more ranchy flavored. But the garlic salt one was really good. This is the garlic salt one, and I'm adding garlic salt too. But I thought that one was the best. But all 3 were devoured during dinner anyway. So that part didn't matter. It was good all around. The skins didn't get wasted. They got eaten by rabbits, chickens, and people. Here is my last batch of potatoes that I took out of the boiling, sticking into jars. I have 8 jars here. I will only use 7, but I always clean 1 to 2 extra jars because you never know. You never know. And I'd rather have an extra than not enough. So always have 1 to 2 extra jars just ready and waiting. I did end up putting salt in these 2 jars because I put salt in the bottom. But I had a little bit less salt, so again, as you know, the more you know, the more you can put up, the more you can preserve. And having these potatoes on the shelf, ready and waiting for when we need them, it'd be great. For mashed potatoes or even potatoes when you add potatoes to stews. That'd be great too. Just take a jar of beef, take a jar of potatoes, take a jar of corn, take a jar of carrots, take a jar of your beef broth, put it all in, and just warm it up. And that's dinner. That's a good, wholesome, hearty dinner. I'm going to add my water, and then we will debubble and put lids and rings on. In the kitchen, sometimes things can move fast. You always gotta keep going. Keep your mind thinking of new and innovative ways to preserve, to save, and to put dinner on the table. Sometimes the best meals come from just an inspiration. You're like, I have this and this and that. All right, let's put it together. Does it work? 9 out of 10 times, it does. That one time it doesn't, you order a pizza. And then you go, oh, I just thought we'd have pizza tonight. And no one's the wiser. Sounds pretty good. This is the last little bit of potatoes. You always get so excited when you know like you're in the home stretch. Because I got this and I have dinner in the oven and the kids will be home from summer camp. It's not camp overnight, it's just they call it camp, but they go to like different parks and like a butterfly house and different museums and learn about things. It's not really camp because they're not camping, but they're not doing schoolwork. But they're still technically learning because they're learning activities. See, there's my spoon. Debubble them. Sometimes debubbling doesn't make it into the video, but it always happens. And see, with this one, I actually needed that extra jar. I got 8 jars, which was awesome, because tomorrow we're having mashed potatoes. So this jar is just going to get put in the refrigerator and will be used tomorrow for dinner. Because 7 fit in the canner. Which is great. I love this little filter. It filters out everything. And it is quite big. But when you have multiple jars that you're trying to fill up with water, sometimes you're like, oh, it doesn't filter fast enough. But I try to keep it filtered and full on the counter, so when the kids want some, they can just come over and tip out water. We give the dogs filtered water, because I have a Bichon. Don't want those weird red tear stains around his eyeballs, so we give him nice filtered water. We also feed him a cooked food that I make, which I've done videos on that. You can go back and look up some videos on how we make Cash's food. We make it for the whole month. And on some days, you even get like a month and a half, depending on the quantity of meat that you end up cooking. So, I do some cooked, but that is easier for me. And here is our day. Look at that. Our potatoes look so great. Our coleslaw. And these are the 3 containers. And after dinner, we went and picked out some garlic. And this is the garden. It is almost jungle-like. Look at that. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see more of my garden or more of the things I do in my garden. So the cabbage did come back. The chickens did kind of decimate it quite a bit. That is the catnip. That overgrew. These sunflowers are taller than me, and I am 5'3". These are our radishes. They're doing quite good. These are like small little radishes. I usually just use these for the greens. This is the fennel. I can't wait until that gets bigger. The spinach went to seed. I'm waiting for that to get pollinized. That is my oregano. It just sprouted out. I let 3 carrots go to seed. Look at all those flowers. I'm going to get lots of seeds from those. These are my tomatoes. Crazy. These were volunteer tomatoes. I don't know what they are. When you're volunteers, you should come with a tag. This is my watermelon. I don't know what it's doing. It's been the same size for a few. These are our strawberries. Doing so good, staying shaded underneath. That is mustard. I'm trying to get it to go to seed. This is my pumpkin. Look at my pumpkin. It's cute. I think it got fertilized. That's going to be so exciting. And my dill. My dill, I'm waiting for dill seeds. Yep. Dill seeds. chickens are running. But sunflowers, wow. I can't believe